Hi, Katie Smith-Sylvia with the Smith team at Keller Williams, Fort Myers and the Islands. And today I'm here with John, and he's the head of the Northwest Cape Coral Neighborhood Association, and he's going to help educate us a little bit more on future land use and zoning use, so when you're buying a property, it makes life much easier and you don't end up in the wrong one. Hi, John.
Thanks, Katie. Thank you so much. I'm John Bashaw, the president of Northwest Cape Neighborhood Association. I'm excited to be here today, and I want to thank Katie and Keller Williams for putting this together, because I think it is really important. The bottom line here, the information that we're going to share today, I think will make buyers more informed and able to ask better questions about real estate purchases in Southwest Florida, but specifically in Cape Coral. So we're going to do 3 sessions. The first will be just a general overview of planning and land use and the Lee County Property Appraiser site that's available, which has a wealth of information. In the first one, it will be just general. The second and the third will be more specific on how to use the tools. But you may wonder, why is this important? I personally have had some experiences where individuals have purchased property in Cape Coral, and they've come to me and said, I had no idea that was going to happen next to me, or I had no idea that there were plans for the property across the street from me to be a commercial development. Now, I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying it is not adequate information for people that make buying decisions. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'll try not to get really wonky during this discussion, but I want to spend a little bit of time talking about land use and zoning. And please excuse the cryptic flowchart that I have here, but I think this sort of puts it all into perspective. The purpose for zoning and land use is to separate incompatible uses in a city or in anywhere, right? And incompatible uses are things that typically don't go together right next to each other. Now, somebody has made the decision that something is not compatible, and it is this sort of thing, which I'll talk about, that helps put it into perspective. So the first thing that's important to know about land use is that there is a zoning district, but there also is a future land use that is more important to know than the zoning district. So looking at this hierarchy, at the very top level, on a piece of property, there are a couple of identifying characteristics that it's important to know. The first is, what is the future land use element for that piece of property? In other words, in the future, what is that intended property to be used for? Is it single family? Is it residential, commercial? Just what is the future use of that property? Now, inside of that category of future land use, there are these things called zoning districts. And now we're starting to add a little more specificity. So for instance, let's say the future land use for a piece of property was the Pine Island Road corridor, and that is a future land use element. Inside of that future land use, there are some zoning districts that are assigned to it. And one of the zoning districts that's assigned to the Pine Island Road corridor future land use is commercial corridor zoning. Get more specific. Inside commercial corridor zoning, there are permitted uses or ways that that property can be used, or things that can go on that piece of property. What type of development, what type of stores, what type of shops, what sort of businesses. All of those things apply to the zoning district. So cascading top to bottom, on a piece of property, it's really important that you understand what is the future land use for the property, what is the current zoning district for the property, and what are the permitted uses inside that zoning district. Here's how this becomes really important. It's entirely possible that the zoning district for the piece of property that you've purchased is not in alignment with the future land use, meaning there may be some additional plans for that property in the future. Let's say it's a single family zoning district and the future plans are Pine Island Road corridor or commercial. That's something that you'd want to know. In the upcoming sessions, we're going to spend a little more time talking about that, going into specifics, but I wanted to give you just a general overview of today's topics. We'll have 2 more sessions. The first will be to go into some details on this and on the zoning districts. And then the third one will be, how do you use the Lee County Property Appraiser's website to get really solid information on the property you're interested in, to be able to ask really good questions. So Katie, again, thank you so much for allowing us to do this today.
Thank you, John. You guys, this is very important. It helps us help educate you better and making sure that you understand where you're purchasing.